Hello and welcome to the channel. Indigo cultivation and peasant rebellion. Introduction to indigo cultivation. Indigo as a valuable crop. Indigo was highly sought after in Europe for dyeing fabrics, especially in Britain where the demand surged in 18th century. The British saw potential in cultivating indigo in India, particularly in Bengal, as it provided a cheap and high demand source for blue dye. Indigo planters and the ryots means peasants. Planters who are European, they were the main beneficiaries of the indigo trade, controlling the production process. They often lived in large estates and dealt with peasants to cultivate indigo. Ryots means peasants. The peasants were forced to grow indigo under an exploitative system. They did not own land and were bound by debts to the planters. Number 2. The indigo system of cultivation. The system of loans, debt trap. Planters provided loans to peasants to start indigo cultivation, but the terms were harsh. The loans were often high interest, making it difficult for peasants to repay. After harvest, peasants had to sell indigo to the planters at very low prices, which kept them in perpetual debt. Cycle of exploitation. As a result, peasants were trapped in a never-ending cycle of debt. Even after harvesting, they would get another loan to support their family and continue their farming practices. Land use. The planters preferred to cultivate indigo on the best land, which the peasants had traditionally used to grow rice. Soil depletion. Indigo was a deep-rooted plant that exhausted the soil, making it unsuitable for rice cultivation. After the indigo harvest, the soil became less fertile for food crops like rice. Compulsion to grow indigo. Peasants were forced into indigo cultivation, often under the threat of violence by lathials, means armed enforcers employed by the planters if they resisted. The gomastas, means agents of the planters, also played a role in coercing peasants into accepting the indigo contracts. Number 3. The Indigo Rebellion or Blue Rebellion of 1859. Causes of the rebellion. By 1859, the indigo cultivation system had become intolerable. Ryots faced increasing debts, forced labor, and exploitation. The planters were demanding more indigo, and the ryots were angry at being deprived of land for rice cultivation. Injustice and exploitation. The peasants felt their rights were being denied and their lives ruined due to the unreasonably low prices for indigo. Rebellion begins. In March 1859, peasants in Bengal organized and began to refuse to grow indigo. As the rebellion spread, ryots engaged in acts of defiance, refusing to pay rent and attacking indigo factories. Women participated in the rebellion, fighting with kitchen implements like pots and pans, symbolizing the wide support for the movement. Social boycott and intimidation. Those who worked for the planters were ostracized and socially boycotted. Peasants who had been compelled to work for the planters turned against the system, realizing their shared offering. The role of local leaders, Zamindars and village headmen. Many Zamindars and village headmen who were also unhappy with the oppressive power of the planters supported the riots. These local leaders encouraged the peasants to resist and provided them with moral and organizational support. The support of British authorities. The riots believed that after the revolt of 1857, the British government might support them against the planters due to the growing concerns about another uprising. In 1859, when the Lieutenant Governor visited Bengal, the peasants interpreted his actions as sympathetic to their cause. Songs of rebellion. During the rebellion, riots sang protest songs to unite themselves and boost morale. These songs described the planters' cruelty and the courage of the peasants to fight back. Government response to the rebellion. Military intervention. As the rebellion intensified, the British government deployed military forces to protect the planters and suppress the uprising. Indigo Commission. The British government was concerned that the rebellion might spread further, so they set up an Indigo Commission to investigate the Indigo system. The commission found the planters guilty of coercive practices and exploitation. It was concluded that indigo cultivation was not profitable for the peasants and that the system was unjust. The commission's report recommended that peasants should be allowed to refuse future indigo contracts. Government's ambiguity. Although the Commission's report was seen as a victory for the peasants, the British government did not fully support them. The situation remained precarious and the planters maintained their influence. Symbolic victory. The announcement by Ashley Eden, the magistrate of Barasat, that peasants would not be forced to accept indigo contracts was interpreted by the riots as a victory, even though the British government did not make it a permanent policy. Number 5. Decline of indigo cultivation in Bengal. Collapse in Bengal. After the rebellion, indigo cultivation in Bengal collapsed. Many planters left the region and shifted to other areas like Bihar, where indigo cultivation continued for a while. Synthetic dyes and economic impact. The invention of synthetic dyes in the late 19th century further diminished the demand for natural indigo. This was the final blow to the indigo industry in India, as the synthetic dyes were cheaper and more efficient. Number 6. The Champaran Movement, 1917. Gandhiji's involvement. In 1917, Mahatma Gandhi was invited by peasants from Champaran, Bihar, who were still suffering under the indigo planters. Peasants' involvement in the Champaran movement was a direct continuation of the struggle for peasant rights. Non-violent resistance. Satyagraha. Gandhi employed the method of satyagraha, means non-violent resistance, to challenge the exploitation of peasants. The movement resulted in an investigation by the government and brought widespread attention to the plight of the indigo cultivators. Outcome of the movement: the Champaran Satyagraha was successful in securing concessions for the peasants and led to greater awareness of the exploitation faced by the agricultural workers. Impact on India's freedom struggle. The Champaran movement marked a significant moment in India's freedom struggle, demonstrating the effectiveness of non-violent resistance. It also marked the beginning of Gandhi's involvement in the Indian independence movement. Number 7. Collapse of the indigo system and broader impact. End of the indigo system. By the end of the 19th century, due to the combined effects of the rebellion, the economic collapse of the indigo industry, and the emergence of synthetic dyes, the indigo production system in India largely ended. Long-term impact. The Indigo Rebellion and the Champaran movement played key roles in highlighting the oppressive nature of colonial economic policies, especially in rural areas. These movements galvanized Indian peasants and contributed to the broader struggle for independence. Key themes and takeaways. Economic exploitation. The indigo system exemplified the exploitative relationship between British planters and Indian peasants, which kept the ryots in perpetual state of debt and poverty. Resistance and rebellion. The rebellion demonstrated the power of collective action in challenging an unjust system, even when the oppressed were economically and socially weaker. Leadership and support. The role of the local leaders, Zamindars, and Gandhi in organizing and leading the resistance was crucial in challenging the planters' dominance. British colonial policy. The British government's response was ambivalent, though it made some concessions to the peasants. It largely sought to maintain control over colonial resources. Rise of Satyagraha. The Champaran movement led by Gandhi set the stage for the larger non-violent resistance campaigns that would dominate the Indian independence struggle. Key terms. Ryot, a peasant or farmer, typically one who works on leased land. Planters, European individuals who managed or owned indigo farms and exploited Indian peasants for labor. Lathials, armed enforcers employed by the planters to intimidate and control the peasants. Gomastas, agents employed by the planters to monitor the peasants and ensure indigo cultivation. Indigo Commission, an official investigation into the indigo cultivation system in Bengal. Satyagraha, Gandhi's method of non-violent resistance against oppressive systems.